Colleagues, this weekend, like so many of you, like so many people around the world, I watched in horror as images from central Gaza poured across my screen. Images of what appeared to be displaced civilians burning alive following an Israeli airstrike. There are no words, simply no words to describe what we saw. Israel has a responsibility to do everything possible to avoid civilian casualties, even if Hamas was operating near the hospital in an attempt to use civilians as human shields. We've made this clear to Israel, just as we've made clear to the Israeli government at the highest levels that it must do more to address the intolerable and catastrophic humanitarian crisis in Gaza. Colleagues, we know that commitments must be followed through on, and that the progress we've seen since last week is insufficient. And so for our part, the United States will continue to make the following clear. Food and supplies must be surged into Gaza immediately, and there must be humanitarian pauses across Gaza to allow for vaccinations and the delivery and distribution of humanitarian aid. A quote-unquote policy of starvation in northern Gaza would be horrific and unacceptable and would have implications under international law and U.S. law. The government of Israel has said that this is not their policy, that food and other essential supplies will not be cut off, and we will be watching to see that Israel's actions on the ground match this statement. Colleagues, we also remain gravely concerned by the evacuation orders issued by Israel in northern Gaza and are monitoring the implementation of these orders closely. Furthermore, all parties must abide by Resolution 2720 and reject any forced displacement of the civilian population, which would violate international law. We know winter is approaching. The cold and bad weather will soon set in. 1 year into the fighting, with Hamas substantially degraded, Israeli authorities should be working with the UN and the international community on a plan for civilians to move inland. They should be facilitating, not obstructing, efforts to provide for temporary shelter, and they must restore basic services, including water, electricity, and sanitation. I repeat, the United States calls for this work to begin now.